So in the words of my late friend Aretha Franklin, show some R-E-S-P-I-C-T.
Ah, yes. One of the most eloquent Americans, paid millions of dollars by a television network for his insights and his mellifluous characterizations of American cultural events. You know, Turdo. Well, happy Friday, and welcome back once again. Just extraordinary. Did you see that in Lebanon, there are shelters there because Hezbollah is a terrorist group funded by Iran funded by the Democrats, and in the shelters they attack Israel, and then when Israel strikes back in self-defense, then they rush to the shelters. But not everybody is allowed in the shelters. You may or may not be surprised to learn the Washington Post has the story on there will be no Jews in the shelters, for one thing, because they want to kill the Jews. That's the thing about them. They love the killing. There's no room in the shelter for you. Don't you know who we are? Come on. This is a shelter. No place for you. Juden. This little German thing on the Jewish thing. Just extraordinary stuff. I don't know if anybody saw this story. I didn't see it till this morning. It's pretty wild. The Independent out of the United Kingdom. It's another country altogether. Kit Kat, you know the chocolate-covered tasty snack treats? Kit Kats, right? And it's got the red wrappers, and it's got the four kind of sticks, and they got, what do you have there? Like wafers. You have like wafers in there. You got wafers in there, chocolate-coated. And apparently, because the left is everywhere now, crime is everywhere now, in Europe, thieves are stealing chocolate. Because chocolate is real good, and everybody likes chocolate. Well, maybe not everybody, but most normal people like chocolate. And this is crazy. In Canada, where they euthanize people, they put people to sleep like they're puppy dogs. And in fact, more people are put to sleep in Canada than dogs are put to sleep in Canada, an actual true fact. Here it is in Canada. Kit Kat truck flanked by security convoy after 12-ton chocolate theft. I'm sorry, what? A Kit Kat truck was flanked by a security escort. In fact, it is, I think, four black vehicles, and it's kind of remarkable. And they're doing this because, Kit Kat, got to look out for this Kit Kat. Kit Kat truck flanked by security convoy after 12-ton chocolate theft. And a Kit Kat truck was flanked by a security escort through Toronto, Canada on Wednesday, following the theft of more than 400,000 bars in Europe. It's the great Kit Kat heist of 2026, and it's Europe. These Europeans, I think they're going to have to make a movie about this. They should set it in Venice, drop through floors into the canals and things like that while stealing Kit Kats. Nestle, the Nestle Corporation, confirmed that thieves had made off with around 12 tons, and they're in Europe, so they spell it Tonnes, because they're European. Really, just use the American language like normal people, would you? Nestle confirmed that the thieves had made off with around 12 tons of the chocolate after the vehicle carrying its new range, listen to this, set off from central Italy, bound for Poland, but did not reach its final destination. Maybe it's like a Polish train, and it went off the tracks and went crazy somewhere. Isn't that amazing? Just nuts. So they're stealing the great Kit Kat theft of 2026. And honestly, I think we're going to have fast boats in Venice and all kinds of stuff. And they're stealing chocolate like never before in Europe, right there in Europe, where there are Europeans all over the place. And they're stealing Kit Kats by the truckload. because chocolate or something, and just amazing stuff, I got to say. So the Kit Kat try, and it's in Canada now, and they've got in there, I think, 4 black security vehicles, SUVs, and the Kit Kat truck flanked by security after the 12-ton chocolate theft in Europe. This is going on in Canada with the security around Kit Kat, and they've got helicopters shooting video of the 4 black Chevy Suburbans escorting the Kit Kat candy bar truck. The Nestle Corporation, the Nestle headquarters is just across the river from Washington, D.C. in Roslyn, Virginia. And I can see the building out my window at home. The spare room, the guest bedroom, I can see the Nestle headquarters out there across the mighty Potomac River. But Nestle confirmed that the thieves had made off with around 12 tons of the chocolate after the vehicle carrying its new range set off from central Italy bound for Poland, but did not reach its final destination. The vehicle and the merchandise remain unaccounted for. The food giant said they're working with local authorities and supply partners to investigate. And maybe you should call the cops, too, because that might be a good idea. I'm thinking it might be anyway. Pretty good stuff. So very much I like Kit Kats, too. I think I like Reese's Peanut Butter Cups better, but Kit Kats are really good. I like Kit Kats. I'm not behind the theft in Europe, but I do like Kit Kats. Yeah, Kit Kat Canada appeared to lean into the headlines, transforming a logistics nightmare into a marketing opportunity. That's right, it's a marketing opportunity. Hey, we got the left stealing stuff from us. Let's go ahead and turn it into a promotional thing. Why not? That's what I say. Yes, sir. Yeah, and this is a crazy story. The story of Fox News, a story out of Philadelphia. Philadelphians attack Uber Eats delivery robots 1 month after launch. This is, that's why there's a jail in the football stadium there, because it's Philadelphia. It's full of Democrats. What's the percentage of people in Philadelphia being Democrats? Roughly 98%, I would think. Man versus machine. Philadelphians aren't taking kindly to sharing sidewalks with delivery robots. Temple University researcher says frustration with the robots mirrors how pedestrians react to slow-moving humans. So they got the Temple University. He's a researcher. He's probably a professor there. And he says, well, you got to expect that there's going to be violence against robots. The city's full of Democrats who are all violent criminals. So Philadelphia residents have been sharing sidewalks with robot delivery drivers for about 1 month. And they're not thrilled. See? Uber Eats held a demonstration on March 10th, showing off what they call Avride, A-V-R-I-D-E, Avride autonomous delivery robots, which officially launched in the city of brotherly love the same week. And they're very proud. And now, look, hey, you don't even need people anymore. You just, robots will make a sandwich, robots will bring it to you, and then your robot can eat it. The robots were described as the future of delivery, but the humans around them quickly began resenting the automated couriers. Only Democrats could start resenting robots within a month. In late March, an Uber Eats delivery robot in Philadelphia's city center neighborhood was kicked multiple times. Well, sure, look at what they do to the homeless people. The second time, the autonomous delivery bot was kicked and toppled over, according to WPVI-TV, which noted that the people who attacked the robot put it on its wheels. They got wheels, and they put them over, they flip them over, and all this stuff. The kicking incident occurred just after another viral incident in which someone sat on one of the robots, and it looks like you can ride it along, kind of shaped like a kid's sled. A sled? What are they called? A wagon, like one of those wagons. And I was never a child, so I got to play catch up on some of that stuff. So this is a known and expected phase that they just say, yeah, sure, of course this is known and expected. This is exactly what we thought would happen. It's Philadelphia, for the love of Mike. This is a known and expected phase as people get used to the technology. These few cases of vandalism in Philadelphia do not affect our service area expansion plans. And here are the little robots. They're on four wheels, and they're about knee high and by the 4th of July and all that stuff. But the robots are designed to respond. I love this from the company. The robots are designed to respond conservatively. So they have a nice conversation. They politely, but they do carry concealed. So that's the thing. The robots they're responding conservatively. That's funny. In most cases, they will simply stop and wait if someone approaches or interferes, resuming their route only once the interaction has ended. In practice, these moments are usually brief. See, they got a lot of them going on. People tend to satisfy their curiosity within a minute or so and then move on. At the same time, we do not condone intentional damage or unsafe behavior by Democrats toward the robots. And I just added by Democrats, but we all know it's true. Yes, sir. Then there's Lindsay Ouellette. Lindsay Ouellette, a third-year PhD student in social psychology, who's part of the Temple University Robot Social Navigation Amongst Pedestrians team. That's right, it's RoboSnap. You knew it had to be an acronym, right? Because it's RoboSnap. That's the Temple University robot. Special Navigation Among Pedestrians, SNAP. That's because they already had welfare in their minds, like other people paying for their food. So that's a robot SNAP. Told Billy Penn, the frustration with the robots is not new. Of course it is. The robots are new, you idiot. Just aimed at a new target. Yeah, sure, whatever. We're angry at whatever we wake up to that day. She said that just as pedestrians can be frustrated with fellow humans, who they really hate, who walk slowly or are looking at their phones, they can also take issue with the delivery robots. Let's face it, Democrats aren't happy unless they're not happy. They just want to be miserable. They are not happy unless they're not happy. And whatever it is today, it really doesn't matter. Oh, the guy in Chicago, because there was a robot, like a delivery robot. And that was pretty funny. That's right. I remember this guy. So in Chicago, a robot was doing delivery.
Huh? Hello, what do you want? What do you want? You want me to press a button for you? You want me to press a button for you, Mingo? F*** you. Press it yourself. You took a human's job and you want me to press the button for you? No, hello, f*** you. Excuse you? Yeah, excuse you. I'm not pressing nothing. Oh, that's right. You don't have fingers. Well, that's too bad. Again, it's a cold war. You can sit here all night. Tell whoever's food that is to come press the button for you. It's not my problem. What the you ever done for me?
Democrats are all criminally insane and mentally ill. The robot was trying to cross the street, and the Democrat didn't want to be helpful because the robot was delivering somebody else's food. And what the heck have you ever done for me? That's what I want to know. Yeah. Delivery robots have been deployed, like they're a military force, to dozens of cities across the United States, including Austin. They can have them. Dallas and New Jersey. I don't know if you know this, but New Jersey is not a city. Yeah, but that's amazing. The robots keep the orders secure by requiring customers to unlock the cargo hatch. It's got a cargo hatch through the Uber Eats app. You got to have an app to open the hatch to get your food. Otherwise, Democrats will steal it while it's en route. Isn't that great? Yes, it is. So there are robots all over the city. Yeah, you're taking a human being's job, and I'm gonna upend you. Pretty amazing stuff. These people, I got to tell you. And Chicago and Philadelphia, they're attacking things because of the mental illness and the violent criminal insanity. Severely mentally ill Democrats. Smids. You know that right now the voices in our culture are loud. You've probably noticed that. But truth is often silent or silenced. And today, preborn needs your help to speak that truth. Women facing unplanned pregnancies across this great land of ours may be pressured to act quickly, know what I mean? Before they have time to pause, breathe, and hear the truth about about human life and dignity and hope. But I refuse to be silent, you may have noticed, and I'm asking for you to join me a little bit here. As Preborn celebrates 20 years of saving the lives of unborn babies, there's a moment right now that can help save countless human lives for years to come. An ultrasound machine doesn't just show a picture, it introduces a mother to her unborn child. And a lot of clinics across the country don't have an ultrasound machine, or they can't afford to buy one. Preborn's goal is simple and urgent. Place an ultrasound machine in every clinic across America that needs one. And if you have the means, would you please consider a tax-deductible gift of $15,000 to help save countless lives buying an ultrasound machine that will work every day for years and years. To donate, all you have to do is dial pound 250, and when prompted, say the keyword baby. That's pound 250, the keyword is baby, or go to Al Gore's Amazing Internet and visit preborn.com/plant. That's preborn.com/PLANTE. Yeah, the Democrats are just, they're not well. I'd like to feel sad, and I'd like to feel compassion for them, but they're really much too annoying for that. Let's go back to the telephones, Miguel. Talk to the great American people. Let's go to Jeff, calling from Herndon, Virginia. Jeffrey, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hello, Chris. Hey,
Jeff.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it so much.
You bet.
Hey, I just always, you were mentioning about the violence that's coming from a pressured community it happens to be, black, people who have black or dark melatonin, violence against other with dark melatonin, and it's in the black side of things. And every time we've got these things that they refuse to put out there, I wish we could just go out and constantly remind them, that really the Great Society program is the biggest evil ever done to the black community. I guess that's why we say community. Don't know what else to say, but
right.
It's really pernicious, and I don't know how anybody votes Democrat if you know that history at all. When you know that President Johnson got all his cronies from the South, his senators, in 1964 to vote for the 1964 Civil Rights Act by telling them, don't worry, we'll have all those using the N-word expletives voting a Democrat for 100 years. I mean, I don't know how that history escapes these people.
Well, it's not taught, and that's about, that's information dominance. The left doesn't teach it. By the way, Bill Melugin at the Fox News Channel is reporting, and he's a good, solid news reporter. Brand new Bill Melugin, Fox News. Border Patrol caught and arrested 4 British nationals entering the United States illegally in a remote part of Maine from Canada, After crossing from Canada. Now, we got, 4 British guys coming in illegally to the United States from Canada into Maine. What is going on with that, you might want to know. And Bill Melugin says, their names, Ali Mohammed Ali Abdullah. That's one. That's only one. Sounds like 2 names, but that's only one. Ali Mohammed Ali Abdullah. Not very creative. His parents lacked creativity. Also, Hamid Mohammed Neji. Hamid Mohammed Neji. That's number 2. Also with them, Ibrahim Ayub Khan. Ibrahim Ayub Khan. And number 4, drum roll please, Mohammed Sultan Salah. Mohammed Sultan Salah. So we got Ali Mohammed Ali Abdullah, and we got, that's just one guy, and then Hamid Mohammed Daji, and Ibrahim Ayub Khan, and Mohammed Sultan Salah, which clearly are run-of-the-mill British names today. Those are the Brits. That's Great Britain in 2026. And why would these four bearded men all sneak into the United States illegally from Canada into Maine? Maybe they're looking for free stuff. Maybe they, just want the Democrats to lavish them with other people's property because they figure the commies, the Democrats, you'd go to one of these states like Minnesota or something, and the Democrats will, so we got that. Now, how many, during the 4 years of the Biden administration, how many moments were there like this where no one was even bothering to look because Joe Biden and the Democrats? But we've got this going on. What could go wrong? You got like Democrats releasing gang members and criminals from beephole countries all over the world into the United States, and what could go wrong? Then after they murder a woman, then they say, oh, well, isn't that terrible? And then they say Trump pointed it out. Yeah, Trump pointed it out. Yeah, 4 British hikers caught on Golden Road. It's called the Golden Road. They wanted to hike in on the Golden Road after illegally entering the U.S. from Canada. Court records show. And they're called British men in all of the journalism here. British men: Ali Mohammed Ali, Abdullah Hamid Mohammed Naji, Ibrahim Ayub Khan, and Mohammed Sultan Salah were caught illegally sneaking into the United States in a remote part of Maine. And the Democrats are angry with ICE. They want to defund ICE because they want more things blowing up and people being killed. They're the left. They're the Democrats. These people. So the 4 British nationals, ironically, were apprehended by U.S. Border Patrol agents who Democrats want to defund and harass and jail in a remote stretch of Somerset County woods after illegally crossing from Canada into the United States. On April 3rd, federal court documents show when they were filed this week, one of them captured the whole thing on a GoPro camera, narrating a celebration of the group as they set foot on American soil. I can confirm you're now on U.S. soil, Mohammed Sultan Salah narrated in the video, as the group crossed illegally through thick forest just a few hundred yards from the St. Zouchary port of entry in northwestern Somerset County in Maine, according to an affidavit sworn by U.S. Border Patrol agent Scott Hanton and filed on April 7th, U.S. District Court for the District of Maine. Another man in the group, Ali Mohammed Ali Abdullah. I don't want to be named Ali Mohammed. Now, Muhammad Ali, he was cool. He was a cool American in his own way. But Ali Mohammed Ali Abdullah can be heard on the recording on the video asking, "I'm on U.S. soil?" ? Salah replied by showing his phone screen with GPS coordinates displayed. Thanks to the United States, we invented all this, made it all available to everyone. We're the patriarchy. You're welcome. We invented everything, and we let you use it for a very low, low price. Isn't that amazing? Must be cool being close to us, but maybe you should go back to whatever beephole you came from. I'm on U.S. soil, Salah replied by showing his phone screen, GPS coordinates displayed, and declared, "Now we're on U.S. soil. We just made it, baby. We just made it, baby." They probably weren't headed to New York for the club scene. It's possible, I guess, but seems unlikely. The bust, their arrest, began with an unlikely pair of informants, 2 maple sugar workers heading into Canada who spotted 4 men of apparent Middle Eastern appearance. What does that mean, apparent Middle Eastern appearance? Oh, the AK-47s and the suicide vests. I see. Like that. I made that part up. They're just bearded loons. You'd spot them in the woods from a mile away. Appeared to be walking along the Golden Road near mile marker number 90 in the wrong direction to be casual hikers. So they were spotted by people who were collecting maple syrup. And they informed the police, but they must not be Democrats, because if they're Democrats, they'd give them ammunition or, a detonation cord or something like that. so they could murder Americans. So they had to be Republican Americans who were collecting maple sugar and said, hey, wait a minute, those guys look just like every terrorist I've ever seen in my life. Maybe I should call somebody. The unidentified maple sugar workers flagged down a U.S. Customs and Border Protection officer at the St. Zachary port of entry approximately 9:15 a.m. to alert them to the bizarre sighting. By 9:40, the same workers had returned to the U.S. side with more intelligence. You know, when you're in Maine and you live next to the Canadian border, you might wander back and forth between the United States and Canada. And it's no big deal because it's normal. That's true along the Mexican border for people that live down there, too. You might go back a couple of times a day and, you know, go have lunch in Mexico and go to the grocery store in the United States. And in Canada is people strolling back and forth. But the open borders crowd, they want to make sure that you can't do that anymore because they make everything too dangerous. You know how they are. Yeah. So, yeah, by 9:40, the same workers, they had returned to the U.S. side with more intelligence. A third man had told them that two men in a gray Nissan parked on the Golden Road were asking passers-by for fuel and Wi-Fi so they could contact the people they were supposed to pick up. And it's the terrorist thing. At 10:13 a.m., the same third man called back. The Nissan had turned up his maple sugar shack at mile marker 80. So these people are being helpful in there. These people might have stopped a terror attack on the United States. And the Democrats might have facilitated it because you know how they are. All right, let's see. Let's go to the phones. Then we'll get to audio, but let's go to the telephones. Let's talk to Mark calling from Independence, Missouri. Marcus, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Thanks, Chris. Your previous story is kind of related because the Democrats have been destroying this country, I guess, forever. There may be a few good ones, but you had some callers today about the African-American crime, and the previous caller mentioned rightly that it basically started with LBJ's war on poverty that really had nothing to do with poverty. Before the war on poverty, African-Americans significantly voted Republican, and their communities were largely peaceful and prosperous. And, you know, the Democrats just couldn't have this, so they set out to destroy the African-American family. They paid women more to have babies if the father didn't stick around. The wedlock birth rate before the war on poverty in African-American communities was 11%. Now it's over 70, and it's probably 90 in the inner cities. These kids don't have a chance. They turn to gangs to get their familial needs met, and it has just turned to hell. And it was by design. Just it's the same thing they did with Biden opening the border to bring all the illegals in. They just wanted to add to the plantation. The welfare state is the new Democrat plantation. They trap them there. They vote Democrat for their pittance they get. And their cities are war zones, Chicago and all of them. And the leaders there, they don't care. They want that. That's their power base. And so it's what they've done for a long time, and they continue to do, and they do today, like to say, with the illegals. They're not bothered by these hikers coming in to Maine. They're not bothered by the 2,000 plus who've been killed by illegals. It's just what they've done. It's just something. Somebody has to pay a price, but they never seem to. I mean, what Biden did and Obama did, the opening to 12 million illegals, it's the same mindset that LBJ had back in the 60s. And it just goes on and on.
And it just goes on, and it's the Democrat Party. And, you know, let's not, the Democrats in the 1960s, they made up this fake Southern strategy. Oh, the Republicans, see, the Democrats had to dig themselves out of their historical hole because they were, of course, Jefferson Davis, the president of the Confederate States of America in the Civil War, was a Democrat. Abraham Lincoln, a Republican. Republican Party founded on abolishing slavery at long last. The Democrat Party launched the American Civil War in order to keep their slaves. Now they're opening our borders and they're they're picking a second civil war in order to keep their modern slaves. And those they just really love cheap labor, Mark. You know, the Democrats, they love slavery, cheap labor. They love millions and millions of illegal aliens, cheap labor. They really like to have somebody back in the. They always tell us, Mark, about who's going to wash the dishes in the back of the restaurant you go to? And it's like, oh, yeah, we bring illegal aliens in to be cheap labor, just as they did with slavery, the Democrat Party. And there's never anything moral about it or ethical about it. It's greedy, it's selfish, it's usually racist. And you're right. And we were just talking about, LBJ and the. And he's come up a couple of times today. I'll have the N-words, and it's true. He's famous for saying this, LBJ. And Democrat, of course, Texas, and what's his name, John F. Kennedy, needed to have a Southerner to bring in the Southern vote. But the reality is that, the Southern stronghold on the South after the American Civil War was all about the fact that the Confederacy was the Democrat Party and the Union was the Republican Party. And the first Republican president ever, of course, Abraham Lincoln, was murdered by a Democrat, John Wilkes Booth, at the Ford Theater, not far from where I'm sitting now in Washington, D.C., because he was angry about the end of slavery and so on. And the Democrats, they're the party of lynching, they're the party of slavery, they're the party of the plantation of the Confederate States of America. And then it was their reputation stayed with them for a long time. But, Mark, you know that in the 1960s, the Democrats ginned up another fake story like Russian collusion, and they called it the Southern strategy and claimed that Richard Nixon was playing the race card everywhere to win the South, which was a Democrat stronghold, and that Richard Nixon was playing the race card to win the racist Democrat vote in the South. Now, it was learned at the time, but not widely reported. And even the New York Times reported later on that the Southern strategy was a myth. They called it a myth in the New York Times. In fact, it was more than a myth. It was a fraud perpetrated quite deliberately by the Democrat Party to try to get a better foothold on voting blocks that they weren't doing very well with, the fake Southern strategy story, that the Republicans are the racists here. No, you guys are the Confederates. You created the KKK, and every Jim Crow law was yours. And they had some kind of a James Carville in 1968 who came up with this, hey, we'll invent the Southern strategy, and we'll blame Republicans for it. Aha, they said. But the true history of the Democrat Party, Mark, I have to get to work. As soon as I get out of my TV job and get back to focusing on radio, it's time for me to write my book on the Democrat Party, don't you think?
I do. You hammer them better, not just flattering you, but probably better than anybody every day, telling the exact truth about them and who they really are. They're not just another party. They're an evil force in this country, as President Trump said a couple of weeks ago. And I wish more Republicans would expose them for who they really are and what they've done to this country now, and starting way back, probably with Woodrow Wilson. It's just, well, of course, you mentioned the Civil War as well. They were the same back then. And it's just an evil force on this country, and everything they do, they project. Everything you just said, it was Democrat projection. It's what they do. And the war on poverty actually stopped the decline in poverty, too. Their programs never worked. They're not intent to work, but it's all about power and control. That's all they care about is power. They don't have any ideas that work or anything else. So it's really, I wish more people would realize that what the Democrat Party really is.
Well, that is kind of the big battle. I've got to tell you, Mark, that's my daily mission is the truth. And it's not that the Republican Party is perfect, it always has been, because that's not true. But they take a beating, they take a flogging in the New York Times and on CNN and in the press, and sometimes that's fine, sometimes it's fabricated and completely made up. But the Democrat Party gets a free ride by corrupt members of the media from A to Z, from Jake Tapper and Dana Bash to George Stephanopoulos, and the list goes on, Chunk Todd. The whitewashing of American history, the big lie, as their boy Joseph Goebbels used to call it. Mark, thank you. Great call. Independence, Missouri. Great American city. And just the truth. Is that too much to ask? And the Democrat Party resoundingly says yes, and then they firebomb something Jewish.
He could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think, and that is our job.
Yeah.
All right, it's Friday. I'm glad it's Friday. Friday's better than it used to be for me. It's that TV thing, It'll be better when I hit normal again. Let's jump to the phones. Let's go to Alan, calling from Chicago, Illinois, listening on the great WLS. Alan, you are on the Chris Plante Show.
Good morning, Chris. Chris, my family operated a furniture business in the inner city in the Belt. That was an area where blacks were steered and denied mortgages. What we witnessed was in the late 50s, and I was born in 51, families came in to buy furniture into the 60s. As the Great Society grew, we saw more and more baby daddy. In 1964, 23% of black babies were illegitimate at birth. Today, 70% are. This is according to Thomas Sowell. Your previous caller was correct in saying that 90% of the babies born in the housing projects were illegitimate. I've been in the projects. I worked in Englewood. I worked in South Shore. I've worked in Roseland. I've gone into homes as a home improvement salesman that are just so dilapidated. You would think you were in pre-Civil War Mississippi. It's horrible. Shelby Steele, who's a Chicagoan, who's a fellow at Stanford, has described the status of blacks today as no better than in the 1950s, and I've got to agree with that. It's really tragic.
Well, and in some ways, actually worse than the 1950s, believe it or not, statistically. More black Americans were getting PhDs from universities in the 1950s than today. More black men owned their own businesses in the 1950s than there are black men that own their own businesses today. And this is because, honestly, Alan, because the Democrats got to work on making things better for them.
We employed 40 blacks in the 1950s and 60s. We dealt with black-owned businesses. Absolutely. You're absolutely correct there, and you don't see it today. The inner city has been taken over by foreigners.
Well, and by Democrats who do not have anyone's best interests at heart except their own, usually involving financial gain, like all these scams going on from Minnesota to California and elderly care now.